Welcome to On the Inside, episode 8. This is our final episode, brought to you by Gatorade, joined by the captain of Carlton, Paddy Cripps. And Cripper, the Blues are playing some good footy at the moment.
Yeah, we were all right on the weekend. It was nice to get that winning feeling again. I know we talk about it a lot, but when you don't have the year you want, it's nice to finish the year with a bit of momentum. So we talked about playing out the year the right way, and how we do end can carry some momentum into the preseason. So the boys were great. We started really well. I think we got the jump. I think it was like 38-0 at one stage, and there were some guys that really stood out. I thought Harry Mackay's game was massive. His last sort of 3 weeks has been huge, and he got his reward on the weekend. But what we really celebrated with him at the moment, he's just playing with that presence and confidence, and his physicality, his tackle pressure is what's standing out. So he was huge. But yeah, it was great to get a win, and we got one more game against the Dons on Thursday, and then that's the season done, which is crazy. It's crazy how quickly the season wraps up. But how about your mob, mate? Another close loss. How's the vibe around the place?
I'm not sure if you watched the game, but it seemed like a final. 54,000. I think it was the record crowd at Adelaide Oval, and low scoring, tight contest. It looked like a real tactical battle, both teams with a number behind the ball and just a real finals-like atmosphere. So I think for both teams it's good preparation. Unfortunately for the Pies, we came off second best, but it really did look like a finals game. Did you take a look at the game?
Yeah, I watched the whole game. It's always you always love watching the top teams play against each other, and like you said, it's certain games throughout the year can be high scoring, but when you usually get two really good sides that at the top end of the ladder, they both can defend well, so it's always an arm wrestle. And yeah, it was just big moments late. Like it's there's nothing better when you get a game like that decided by under a goal, no matter how high scoring or low scoring it is. So big contest, big moments. There's always a bit of controversy at the end, and but it was good to see one go down to the wire when you're sitting at home after a game yourself.
Yeah, and the stats were obviously in Collingwood's favour. The inside 50s, I think, plus 34. We had a similar game against Fremantle earlier in the year, and the stats showed that, clearly Collingwood had all the factors going their way, but it doesn't always end up in a win, doesn't it? We've spoken a little bit on this show around efficiency and how teams can dominate inside 50, contested possession, these key stats. I think Carlton and Collingwood, we've had some big battles over the years where you guys have dominated these key stats, but you don't actually win the game, and it goes to show how important efficiency going forward is.
Yeah, it's true, and it's when you play like a front half game, say you're defending really well, you can get repeat entries, but there's always high density when you're going back in, so it can be hard to score. And watching the first quarter especially, obviously you guys got the jump, but I felt like a lot of the game you guys had the ball in your front half. Adelaide's defence held up really well, but there just wasn't much space to go to work. So, but I think it's like it shows a lot about Adelaide. I reckon like the teams that can hold up, with 71 inside 50s and still win, like. I think it shows, especially going in the finals, you've got to win a lot of different ways because the best teams are going to throw different looks at you no matter what. And you would have felt that, when you guys won the flag, but you're not going to get the whole game on your terms. So the ability to win, different ways, and that's why the final series is always so fun to watch because, especially the comp's so close. I feel like I've been getting asked like who's going to win it. I actually don't know. Like it's usually there's sort of 3 or 4 teams that you say a good chance, but I reckon this year it's going to come down to matchups. And what I mean by that is like there's just certain teams you match up better against. So depending how the 8 lies, I think there's a lot of sort of variation in who's going to win it. So I'm not sure who you take Collingwood out of it.
I'm with you. It's like even this last round, there's so much to play out. Like we were chatting before whether you do the ladder predictor or not, but like you said, with matchups, who knows? There's 3 or 4 games this weekend which could determine a lot heading into final series. So, but I did like your point on playing a front half game and the density that does create, but it's also on the rebound it can be hard. Adelaide went coast to coast one time in a low scoring game where if you can clear the ball, get the ball in space and there's less numbers, you can actually on the rebound score in a low scoring game. So I find that part of footy quite fascinating. What about the AFLW, Rick, as well? First game on the weekend, Carlton v Collingwood, which looks like it's going to be a staple for years to come. But not sure if you saw many games, but I'm seeing certain things pop up in the W, which is really impressing me. The talent seems to be rising.
Yeah, well, the game on Thursday night at Icon Park, obviously between Carlton and Collingwood to kick it off, like it was, it stood out. Like the energy was huge throughout the whole crowd. It was great to see footy at Icon Park. I know the old Princess Park, and I was sitting next to Shane O'Sullivan, who's a club legend, and he was just saying, brings back so much memories for him, back in the day when we used to have home and away fixtures there. So, the girls played a great brand of footy. The skill level's definitely improving. Like you said, what I love most about it's just a platform for young girls now to have, aspirations and get inspired by people, and, all the girls that are playing now. So, 18, 19-year-olds are coming in. They played the game for, 8 to 10 years now, or their whole life. So their skill levels are already up, and then the ones that have been playing so far have improved as well. So, yeah, it was great to see. We had a few Irish girls debut as well, so it's great to see that Irish connection, to get over. We've always sort of tried to get a few Irish players, both in the AFL men's and women's program. So it's amazing how quickly they pick up the game just from playing Gaelic. So
pretty skilled, aren't they?
Yeah.
All Irish players.
Yeah, and obviously over there, Gaelic in the women's has been big for a long time. So they both came in and played great footy. But no, it's been great, mate. It's good for the comp. Obviously the season's kicked off, and looking forward to it. But I know we're chatting off air, but a few retirees, some greats of the game retired. Obviously Nat Fyfe and Trav Boak. I'm not sure your views on them, but obviously greats of the game.
Mate, 2 superstars. I'm sure there'll be some other retirees that will be in it. I mean, Luke Bruce is another one retiring. I played with Punky, absolute superstar, Brucey. Great guy. Nat Fyfe, I think I put him in the bucket of just the matchup in the midfield in his prime as just being one of the hardest players to play against. I matched up on him, as you do in the midfield, throughout patches in games, and he used to just hit so hard. He was just made of brick, basically. And he had that aerial presence. He would crash through packs, and at his best, it's hard to find a player that's better than him, I think. And, you put him, Dangerfield, probably yourself, Bontempelli, those bigger size mids, when they're at their best, they're just so hard to stop.
I think what's underrated with Fyfe is he came in at 67 or 70 kilos. So you think of him as a big body mid, but the work he's done to get to that size is crazy. I actually went to school. I was at the same school as him, boarding school. I was year 8 when he was year 12, and he used to play in the wing in first 18, and he always had that aerial sort of presence where he could just take hangs. He was very light then, but I think it was 2014, 2015 when he was at his prime, was nearly unstoppable. And I remember that midfield. They were a big body midfield. Obviously, the real deal Neil was just sort of making his way then.
Yeah.
We had Sandlands hitting wherever they wanted, Fyfe on the fly. It was good to watch. And then obviously Boakey, we played against him on the weekend. He's been a great. And what I loved about Boakey, I reckon, he's probably paved the way a bit about that being a pro and getting the most out of yourself. I've always loved watching him from afar and followed him and tracked him and stuff with Red Bull, but all the little 1%ers he's done across his journey to get the most out of himself. And even just chatting to him post game, obviously got a high level of respect. And one thing he said to me, I said congrats on your career, and he goes, mate, I'm just happy. I'm happy with my decision, and that's what you want to do when you leave footy. It's we play a game that you want to get the most out of yourself. But
sounds like he's left it all out there.
Yeah, to leave the game happy and know you've left it all out there, and he's got the most out of himself is a pretty special place to be. So they're obviously 2 greats. And then, like you said, Luke Bruce, his story's crazy. I think he was playing 2s at Box Hill for the first year or 2, and he's gone on to be arguably one of the best small forwards of all time. I think if you look at his game, probably one of the hardest guys to tackle.
Yeah, he's got that rugby background from Temora.
Yeah, and that's a small country town in New South Wales, so I'm guessing there wouldn't be a lot of AFL players there. But yeah, that ability, and I think people talk about it a lot, but small forwards in finals tend to really stand up, and the ability to win contests because teams defend so well. He was one that always stood up in big games, and obviously he's got another final series coming up, so I'm sure he'll stand up in his last sort of few finals. But it's a weird feeling when you see greats of the game sort of retire, because they're the guys that when you come into the league, they'll probably establish as started to be superstars, and then all of a sudden makes you feel like you're getting a bit older seeing them sort of go. And but yeah, it's just a great moment to celebrate their careers, and obviously a few of them were there. Boakey will have his last game this week, which would be a massive occasion for Port.
Yeah, no, you've done that summary very well. I think with Punky Bruce, had the fortune of playing with him, and just such a humble guy, but great story. Came off the rookie list, and then to play 300 games, All Australians, premierships, he's done it all. You speak about Boakey. I remember I went to America for an off-season camp and went to train with this movement coach over there, and Boakey was there as well, and he's always over there working and trying to find that edge. And then you touch on Fyfe, as well. I think his story is incredible. I think in year 11, he was actually playing seconds at school, so he wasn't even close to being drafted as a teenager, and then went pick 20 roughly around that area, and then got drafted, and then one of the greats of all time. So it's an incredible story from where he was as a teenager. And on teenagers, Paddy, Gatorade's been a huge part of what we've done with On the Inside this show, and obviously keeping teens in sport is something that they're very passionate about, and 30,000 teens are dropping out every year. And one of the key factors, and it's actually the number one factor in either eroding teenagers' confidence to stay in the game or to build them up, is actually teammates. So that's the topic for today, is teammates. So what's your experience with teammates in building confidence in yourself, and then how have you supported others in that manner as well?
Yeah, I think we always talk about at the top level, but how can you be a great teammate to the ones around you? But I was having to think about confidence. I feel there's two types of confidence. Obviously, there's a performance confidence lens, which when you play in teenage sport, it's not always about that, but you get that from just doing the work. You know what I mean? And also how you talk to yourself, that self-talk. So that's something we work on a lot. I know you'd be the same about how you get the most out of yourself and make sure when you play that confidence. But there's also that self-confidence about, just being a part of a group and fitting in. And when I think of that, I think of the biggest inhibitor, I think of that is just like fear of failure, fear of making mistakes, fear of, not belonging to a group. So being a great teammate is just making guys feel welcome, building them up. I've said it a lot throughout these segments, but I'm big on just positive reinforcement. Like when you see someone do something well, high effort or good energy, like how you celebrate them out in the field. Like if you watch the best teams that are playing with a lot of confidence, if you watch how they act when someone does a small act out in the footy field, they celebrate, they pick them up off the ground, they clap. It's all those little things that it doesn't look like big things, but it makes someone feel really good about himself when they do it. So they're just a few things I try and focus on, but I also love seeing when other people do that. I'm not sure what you've got.
I love the positive reinforcement. I think that's a really good one. And I also really like the ability to move on from mistakes really quickly. And you touched on the best teams who are able to reinforce good when they see things. And this could be at any level of any sport, but also having the ability to move on and understand that when someone makes a mistake, they're not trying to make a mistake. It's whether they miss a kick or miss a kick for goal. And I think the best teams get over to their teammates and support them in that way. And I think that's an on-field action that can be really good, is that, when you see someone make an error, getting over to support them and realise it, wasn't intentional, but the positive reinforcement is really good as well. So who were some teammates in your AFL time, Paddy, or might be from your teenage days, if you have any shout-outs you want to give to someone that looked out for you when you were struggling for confidence as a teen? Yeah,
I had a great group of mates when I was a teen. I loved playing sport in my teenage years. But I think one thing is like the more I think about it, is I feel like sometimes we put too much pressure on ourselves, as teenagers, because you want to say get drafted or you want to play first footy or all that. But when you peel it back, at the end of the day, it's a game. You want to have fun. You want to play the game, you want to compete. They're the three sort of things why you play. In terms of when I first got to the club, I had a lot of great mentors. I still remember my first VFL game actually for the Northern Bull Ants. So it was the first year I got drafted. I played with at that time Carlton were really experienced, obviously coming off a few final series, and Heath Scotland was actually was playing in that game, and he just gave me so much confidence by he's just loud, just kept pumping me up for doing the stuff that I'm good at, which is winning the contested ball and getting it out. And we ended up winning that game. We were down by 37 in the third quarter. We won by a point. It was one of the best memories I've had in footy, but I just remember him just feeding me full of confidence, which was my first game against basically men, coming from under 18s, and just made me really back myself in. And then obviously had a lot of great mentors. Like Juddy was there when I first got there. He took me under his wing. Michael Jamison was huge for me. Murph, Andrew Walker was another one. And then you're training against guys like Carlton and all those guys. They just they tested you, but they made you feel good by helping you out and sort of keep learning the game. So, yeah, you look back on those memories and it makes you smile, you know what I mean? And it sure also makes you think now, it's how can I impact these younger guys that are coming through the club now, that you can pass on your sort of knowledge and wisdom. So, not sure what about yourself, mate?
Yeah, similar to you, two that stand out for me in my Swans days when I was a teenager would be Jude Bolton and Nick Smith. And we've spoken a lot about support and building confidence on field, but the things that those guys did for me off the field was, moving to a new city in Sydney, they'd always check in with you, whether, you just had a good or a bad game on the weekend, whether you didn't even play footy at all. It was more of that personal relationship. So I think building relationships with teammates, whether there is an age gap at your local footy team or in your AFL team, whatever team you play at, is so important. And it's like anything in life, having the ability to build relationships away from footy actually builds the connection on the field as well. So in my experience, Jude Bolton, Nick Smith were really good with that. Adam Goods, I actually lived with Goodsy when I moved to Sydney as a 16-year-old. I did a pre-season and he took me under his wing and just gave that support of, someone who had no idea what he was doing, basically, to sort of show me the ropes and show how it was done. So hopefully that gives some good insight to everyone listening as to how you can support a teammate, because teammates are ultimately the ones you're out there performing with. And if you'd like any more knowledge on how you can support teammates and help build confidence in teenage sport or teenagers in general, head to Gatorade.com.au, where you can find an outline of the 10 key points, that can help you do that. So, Paddy, we're almost at the end of the season now. It's awards time. Who have you got winning the flag? I will steer clear of this topic, but who's going to make the granny as well? Brownlow, All-Australian captain.
Yeah, I got no idea who's going to win the flag, to be fair. Like 5 weeks ago, I would have said Pies. If I had to pick a team, I think Brisbane. I feel like they've got that confidence. They feel like they can win a lot of different ways. They can get, the real deal back and get some injuries cleared up. Then I feel like they'll be hard to beat. But I wouldn't be surprised if I feel like anyone in the top 8 can generally win it this year, which is going to be a fun watch. What else? Brownlow. Brownlow is going to be close again. I'd be surprised if Nick doesn't win it. I feel like just finds a way to impact.
Even in a losing game on the weekend, he was pretty good still.
Yeah, it just has big moments like that goal he kicked. Obviously, Jordan Dawson's had a huge year. And there's like Noah Anderson, Bailey Smith, Rowley. I reckon Tom Green's a roughie. Like I feel like sometimes he doesn't get enough credit, but the Giants win a lot, and he seems to be out there every time. He just finds the Sharon. Coleman, I think Jezza might have a Coleman locked up.
I don't think he's going to get the ton though, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, you just never know. Like who do they play this week?
Good question.
If he kicks a big bag this week, then maybe
Giants. Tigers. They play the
so
Tigers.
If he kicks a big bag this week, then maybe, if they play 3 or 4 finals, chance.
Yeah.
Imagine kicking 100 on the granny. Do you reckon if he kicked 100 on the granny, does the crowd run on?
I have to.
Yeah.
But I reckon it just... What actually would happen if 100,000 people run on the G? It would take 3 or 4 hours to clear the ground.
Any final. Like, imagine just like...
Yeah.
I might have to get along to it.
Yeah, I think you'd have to go.
I reckon I'd run on the field if he hit the 100.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Have it.
Yeah. And then All-Australian captain... I actually don't know, mate.
Do you have to be a captain to... You don't have to be a
I don't
captain
think
because
so.
Noah Anderson is captain of the Gold Coast, who you would assume would be getting their first finals berth.
Yeah, like he's obviously going to be in the All-Australian team, so he's a chance.
Because even Nick Dacos is a vice captain of Collingwood. You could make an argument.
Yeah, I think they generally... I feel like with the captain, it's like... I feel like they reward like consistency or like a certain amount of blazers. So I reckon there'll be someone like a... Gorney's probably already been it, but he could be it. Bond could be it again. Toby Green, if he gets in there. I actually wouldn't know what the team is, but...
Dawson could be another.
Yeah, Dawson.
Well,
so.
Look, actually, I'm going to go with Dawson just because Adelaide have finished on top.
Yeah.
He's the captain. He's had a star year. I think Jordan Dawson will be the All-Australian captain.
And he'd be worthy, mate. He's had a great year, and I think everyone respects the way he plays. Like, he plays hard and just impacts the game in a lot of ways. So... Yeah, it's going to be a good end to the year, mate. I'm excited. It's I wish I was playing. Like it's definitely when the weather starts to warm up. I remember last week I started really getting a bit frustrated. Not frustrated, but you just sort of the competitive juices come out. It's like all the work you do is to actually want to play in finals and impact finals. So, but at the same time, I always still enjoy watching them. Probably the last one to finish, mate. And I know you were getting a bit nervous yesterday, but Harry Sheezel hitting the half ton. What happened, mate? Like, did you tune in? Like, were you getting messages? Did you get nervous? Like, is there a little bit of like, I suppose, pride in you? Like, you sort of like having the record, or?
No, to be honest, I don't really care. But my phone was going nuts. I wasn't watching any footy yesterday, but my phone was going nuts. I thought something bad had happened. I thought someone had died or something. I was like, what's going on? Because I was driving, so I couldn't read my phone. And then I saw everyone texting me saying Sheezel's had 50 and he's tied the record. And I thought it was good. I thought he'd obviously had a superstar game. He's kicked 2 as well. He's passed our man Diesel, who had 53.
Diesel will be filthy.
Yeah, so good on Sheez. It's I guess kind of cool to say you could share a record with someone. It'd be like sharing a Brownlow with someone. I feel like you would naturally have a connection with that person if that was to happen. But
so like take us like 54, like, you know, I reckon when you have like high 30s to 40, like you walk off the ground and you're like, I've had you just feel like you've been in the game the whole game.
Yeah.
Like have 50 is like just crazy. Like did it generally feel like you had the ball in your hands all game?
I'm trying to. I think the first time was twice against Collingwood.
First,
first, second, third. Take your pick. The first time I remember, like the numbers are on the scoreboard at the G.
Yeah.
So naturally, 3/4 time, every player, if they don't do it, they're probably lying. But you naturally see the stats of different things. So the games at the G, I think you roughly know if you've had plenty of it. One game against the Giants, had no idea, but you walk off the ground thinking, I know I've had a bit of it, but you never quite know it's that much because you've had some big games as well. You've had some high 40s and some 40s. Some days the ball just finds you and you don't know why. You're not doing anything different. The ball just somehow just keeps falling in your lap. And other games you might have a tag or you can't get near it for whatever reason. But there's days where you prepare the same, you do nothing different, but the ball just seems to find you.
Yeah, I think you're just getting flow. But like it's like your touch is on, the ball bounces your way. But like mate, there's a difference between having 40 and 54. Like 54 is like disgustingly high. But it's a credit to him. You love seeing these young guys come in and impact. So he's obviously, you can tell he's a pro. He puts a lot of work in. So you know, it's like we always say, you get what you deserve in AFL. Like if you put the work in, good things usually come your way. So it's obviously a big game for him.
No, it's a massive game. And I also love looking at the Premier Data stats on Instagram when they pop up and guys out there are having 70 touches or kicking 20 goals. That's always great to see footballers out there doing that. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching the final episode of On the Inside, brought to you by Gatorade. We've had a great time bringing this show to you and hopefully many more episodes to come in the future. So, Paddy, hopefully it's been a good season for you as well and the real deal will be back next year as well.
Thanks, Magneto. It's good fun.
Good work.